Hello everybody, it's Sekiro. On today's episode, we're going to be doing something very boring. As you guys know, there's a lot of plot going on in this video game. It's a really narrative video game. There's just a lot to cover between like all the characters and like the main focus of like the game's story. So the main objective was to rescue Kuro from Genichiro, which we did back in like episode 6. And then after that is to go on a mission to help Kuro sever immortality, which is somehow tied to his like ancestral bloodline. It's really confusing. Like there's like a lot of plot to read into in this game. Up until now, like I've kind of glossed over most of like the very like gritty like plot things, only covering like a few things here and there. You know, the whole abridged delivery of like everything that the game's been thrown at me in the story. However, right now I'm gonna be doing things a little differently. There's gonna be no boss battle, and there's really gonna be like no exploration of like any new areas right now. It's just gonna be like a wild compilation of me basically running around like a madman, trying to find all these like different points of interest, people to talk to, and items that I need in order to actually get like 2 different endings that I can achieve at the end of the game. Alright, I'm just gonna shut up now and get to the important shit in this video. Okay, so first things first. My first playthrough, I actually missed an entire boss battle due to me not like pursuing one of the secret endings of the game. This boss hinges on you doing a very specific thing with a specific NPC in the game, and if you don't do it, you can completely miss the entire boss fight, and by proxy, one of the secret endings. Now, in order to get this ending, there's going to have to be a lot of sneaking around and eavesdropping on some of the NPCs in Kuro's chambers and back at the dilapidated temple where the sculptor is. Now, in order to really kick off this questline, I have to get Emma to teleport from where she's standing right here up to, like, the dojo where you fight Owl. She's going to be standing right in this spot. So I probably have to eavesdrop on some more NPCs. I know there's 3 different points at this moment in the game where I can eavesdrop. One being Kuro, another being the sculptor and Emma, and the final one being Saint Ishin. I don't know if I like put Saint Ishin in any of the other videos. I'm pretty sure I didn't, but he's kind of an important character. He's basically the dude who owns the castle that like Kuro's set up in for a majority of the game, and owns like this entire fortress where you fought in Genichiro and Owl. He's also been giving me like a lot of helpful tips on like where to get like certain key items for the plot, namely the Mortal Blade. I'm not sure if he's important to the questline, but I might as well just like eavesdrop on him since it gives me the option to. For anybody who is confused on like really who this guy is, he's from that intro cutscene where he takes out that towering dude with the giant sword spear. He's basically like the savior of like the land of Ashino where this game takes place. I don't know, plot, am I right? The Crimson Mortal Blade. It means that the one that he has must be the black one. How tragic. I had a small conversation with Ishin on the side. I even gave him some sake to like, you know, get some more like, I guess like story or like character development from like all the characters. He talked about Owl and like all the shinobi and the Ashina soldiers that would always like drink with him. I guess like, you know, cool stuff, but that's not what we're here for. What we are here for is trying to get Emma to move to that one spot I was talking about earlier, which after a lot of trial and error, I finally got her to move upstairs, and this is what she had to say when she finally got here. Lord Takeru spoke of beheading in his memoirs. Perhaps the act of beheading was the means to sever immortality along with the life of the divine heir. If you walk the path of immortal severance, then you must use the mortal blade to end my lord's life. Yes. Lord Kuro desires immortal severance. I understand that. I do. And yet, Master Wolf, might there be a path where Lord Kuro need not lose his life? Basically, all I have to do is agree with Emma that Lord Kuro can't die, which, like, come on, I don't want that guy to die. He's my boy. The main key item she's looking for is this, like, branch from the Everblossom tree, which I guess was, like, some Sakura tree that had, like, super magical powers. But the branch withered away, and like the flowers also withered away, so it's up to me to go like find out who ripped the branch off the tree originally and get it back so we can use those Sakura leaves to save Kuro. If you aren't confused at this point, then I give you a lot of credit because like at this point my head was spinning. As it turns out, Shinobi Owl, who I just yeeted into oblivion, happened to have a withered away Everblossom branch on him, so it kind of leads me to believe that he's the one who did it back, you know, whenever he did it. But Emma's just like, no, it cannot be this one. The leaves must still be on the branch. So I'm just like, okay, great. What does that mean? So eventually, Emma traveled to this like small little graveyard where the previous divine heir and her shinobi were buried. And she begins going on about this like memory that she had of like days of future past or something. I don't know. It's so confusing. But she said she'll go talk to her friend, the sculptor, and see if anything can like come back to her on like the Everblossom's whereabouts. And at this moment, this was the last thing I had to do in order to unlock the first secret ending. So I traveled all the way back to the dilapidated temple to spy on Emma and the sculptor having a conversation inside the temple. Emma, does that sit well with you? I cannot say. To achieve their goal of immortal severance, either he or Lord Kuro must die. Oh shit. She's talking about me, huh? Why does it only have to be that way? So, will you keep that from them? If I give him this, he's going to die. Alright, so this supposedly is the item that unlocks the boss that then progresses, like, you know, the rest of this, like, quest line to the end of the game. Mr. Wolf, you're here too. I've always enjoyed the sound of boot of being carved, so I stop at this place every now and then. One of us must die. What did you mean? Were you listening the whole time? Tell me. That day, beneath the branches of the Everblossom tree, Lady Tomaway tried to commit suicide. She said, those made immortal by the oath of the divine heritage shackle their masters. So in order for the purification to occur, the oathbound of the dragon's heritage must die. But she wasn't able to achieve the purification. Correct. She did not have the mortal blade. Do it must be done. I will live by those words, as my master does. Here. Okay. So this is it. Father's Bell Charm. A bell charm previously owned by the owl. Alright. This is it. This is the item. So apparently I take this thing to that Buddha statue in the corner that originally I used in order to travel back in time to Harada Estate and verse Lady Butterfly at. So at this point, according to like, you know, the checklist of things to do, I've secured the means to achieving one of the secret endings. All I have to do is eventually get up to that one secret boss and, well, defeat him. However, there is one more secret ending that we have to cover, and unfortunately it's way longer than this one is. I will try to abridge this as much as I can. There is almost double, maybe triple the amount of things that I have to collect and people that I have to talk to in order to progress this part of the game in order to unlock this secret ending. So right off the back, in order to start this like secret ending questline off, I have to achieve this book called Holy Chapter Infested. I then have to deliver this like ancient text to the Divine Child. Remember her from the Folding Screen Monkeys episode? She's that little girl that sits in the temple that the monks, I don't know, essentially created in order to be immortal. One thing I gotta do is consistently like ask her for rice. Whenever like I come in here, I'll always be like, can I have some rice? Please, take this rice. Bless us with a bountiful harvest. And like, boom, she'll give me like a little like healing item. I've actually used this a few times in like bosses as like a last resort kind of thing. It comes in handy way too often, but yeah, I gotta do this like multiple times in order to like actually get her to give me like a rare item on top of a whole bunch of other stuff. Eventually, she starts feeling sick, and I have to give her some, like, fruit called a parmesan. I'm glad you've come, Shinobi of the Divine Heir. What's wrong? It's nothing serious. More importantly, your rice. Hold on. You don't look well. Rest. Yes, I understand. Is there something I can get you? Well, then I'd like to eat a persimmon. Take this. Truly, you've brought me a persimmon? Eat it. Yes, thank you. Munch, 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 munch. It's sweet and delicious. Shinobi, hold out your hand. Alright. Okay, so after I get that, like, rice for Kuro, that specific item that she gave me, I have to bring it back to my boy, and then he unlocks, like, some new dialogue, which, you know, he notices that I have the rice, and he's just like, oh, you've brought me rice. Can I make something delicious for you? I'm just like, okay, sure, I'll eat anything at this point, because I'm a starving ninja who's always getting my ass beat by giants in this game. So, la-di-dee, la-di-da, after a while, he makes me sweet rice ball, which is like a super healing item that restores vitality and posture and a bunch of good things, and is probably one of the best things you could ever use when, like, you're getting trampled by a boss. And I know it's probably going to come in handy at one point in the future in this game, so thanks, Kuro. Really appreciate it. Kuro straight up just goes like Uncle Iroh over here and says, maybe one day I'll open up a tea house if ever I have the time. And all you can do is sit back and just go, aww. But yeah, anyway, back to the Divine Child, blah blah blah. Tell her about, like, how Kuro made, like, delicious, like, rice balls out of the rice I gave him from her. And eventually she'll start talking about immortality severance and things that we can do about it in order to help Kuro. Eventually the little girl manages to make her way up to that, like, very, very distant temple where we fought the folding screen monkeys, and she's talking to herself, or maybe the other divine children, I don't know. After meditating on it, the Divine Child finally agrees that severing immortality might not be the only path that we can take, and suggests, instead, return the dragon's heritage to its rightful place. Return the dragon's blood? That's right. The dragon's heritage was set free from its homeland and drifted here to Japan. Its power was never meant for this land. Until something is done, it will continue to corrupt the lives of those who encounter it. The dragon's heritage and those connected to it, it's only right that they return home. So after she suggests that we, you know, return the dragon's heritage back home to the west or wherever, she says I gotta look out for this, like, book of text called Dragon's Heritage Homecoming, which is pretty much the final item in order to actually put the nail in the coffin on obtaining the secret ending. Just kidding. I actually realized there's like 3 other things that I forgot about. So after crawling through a cave for like 5 minutes trying to find this thing, I returned this sacred text to the Divine Child who was back in the temple, and she said that she needed to consume 2 persimmons of the serpent, and that will allow her to cradle the divine heir. Now, this is actually kind of cool because I just so happen to have both these 2 items on me since I had obtained them from both the giant snakes that I had killed in previous episodes. And then finally, after I gave both those items to her, and she supposedly ate them, which is just gross, I managed to finally lock down the second secret ending to this game. Shinobi of the Divine Heir, it appears I have succeeded in becoming the cradle. Can you please take my hand? It's cold. See? My tears, they freeze as they fall down my face. These frozen tears, take them. So this is the key item that finally cements the Dragon's Homecoming ending being an available option towards the end of the game. Phew! Okay, well, that was a lot. Again, I'm sorry this wasn't the most, like, action-packed episode, but, like, I feel like all this stuff leading up to the end of the game is important, just so, like, people aren't confused on, like, how I get to certain moments. Especially since, like, they both deal with the ending of the game, and it would just be confusing to be, like, you know, going down one of these paths without explaining how I got to it. I'm probably just gonna label this as, like, a filler episode, since there was just so much going on, and it's, I mean, by all means, if you're kind of, like, along for the ride for this game's story, then watch this, because, like, there is some, like, cool stuff in it, but, like, yeah, I wouldn't be disappointed if, like, people skip over this to get to the next one. Which happens to be me going back to Harada State and using Father's Bell Charm to finally fight that secret boss that I never got a chance to in my first playthrough of this game. So I'm kind of excited. I don't know what I'm in for, except for the fact that everybody online is saying that this is one of the hardest bosses in the game. So yeah, that's cool, I guess. Can't wait to see how that ends up going. Right, so I end up getting to Harada Estate, not expecting to get my ass beat, and what do you know? The night that it all came together. Man, having flashbacks now. You're supposed to be dead. Are you kidding me? Wait, there's a mini-boss! Oh, not one of you! Okay, really, what I gotta be honest, was not expecting that. Oh god, oh piss, oh no. Let's onto the tree. Okay, where's that guy? There you are, you snake bastard. Dude, how was I supposed to know there was gonna be a mini-boss immediately after? Well, alright, that just adds to how sus this whole, like, memory thing is. Dude, I'm sure this guy gives me a prayer bead. Okay.
Bang affiliating. MC Winner had you wildin' off a zone and a whole half a gallon. Get the dialing. 911 emergency. You can tell him it's my son. He's hurting me and he's a felon. On parole for robbery. Ain't no copping a plea. Ain't no stopping a G. I'm in the 6. You got to hop in the 3. Company monopoly. You handle